there's a trillion game projects out there with trillion kinds of budgets and handling and management. We have so many failed projects throughout the game industry up to date. But why some projects just failed and how much loss they bring to their project? So in today's video we are going to count down top 10 biggest failed projects in the game industry and how much they lost to their actually owners. There's so many stories in the graveyard of the game industry. So in today's video we are going to see the dark side of the games industry, and my name is Ebolan here. Let's dive to the video. Number 10. Lair 2007. Even the best can fail to live up to expectations. That appears to have been the case with Lair, an early PlayStation 3 title created by Star Wars Rogue Squadron developer Factor 5. Pedigree couldn't save this strange blend of motion controls and dragon-mounted action. A mixture which came across to many as unwieldy and awkward. The gaming community seems to agree, given that sales of Lair were reportedly far below expectations. While the exact cost of production is unclear, it may well have contributed to the 2009 shutdown of Factor 5's North American branch. Yeah, it could be. Number 9. Shenmue 2000. There's not making a lot of money, and then there's bringing an end to an entire line of products. The brainchild of Sega AM2 founder Yu Suzuki, Shenmue remains significant thanks to its introduction of some of the most enduring mechanics in open world games. Yet when all was said and done, the game's 1.2 million copies sold were insufficient in covering its development costs, estimated to be between $45 to $70 million. Sega's losses are suggested to have been a major factor in their eventual departure from the console market, ending further work on the Dreamcast console in the process. Number 8. The Fiancé 2013. When the Sci-Fi Television Network was developing the show The Fiancé, they came up with a rather interesting idea: connect the show's event to an ongoing MMO and have the two influence each other. To that end, $70 million was put in to build a full-fledged online shooter from scratch to launch alongside its television counterpart. It was a novel idea but was hampered by the game proving to less than compelling to new players, leading to the adoption of a free-to-play model a year after launch, with a limited user base and a TV series that only lasted 3 seasons. The Fiancé is a clear example of clever idea that never had legs to stand on. Number 7. Messiah 2000. For several years, Shiny Entertainment toiled away on this third-person shooter about an angel sent to rid Earth of sin and corruption. When it finally reached the store shelves in March 2000, Messiah was met with overwhelming indifference and disinterest from critics and general audience alike. For many players, a unique premise wasn't enough to distract from underwhelming shooting mechanics and a variety of glitches. Exact sale figures of Messiah are scarce, though it's known that the game sold poorly enough that Shiny opted to cancel the console versions. Number 6. Pac-Man Atari 2600 version 1982. How do you mess up a bona fide classic of an arcade age? Well, Atari managed it somehow with the 2600 version of Pac-Man, a glitch-ridden mess of a game, notorious among gamers for its embarrassing bug and bizarre instances of showdown. This nevertheless had Atari's support. Once upon a time, Atari spent around $1.5 million just on marketing the game. And that's before we get into the cost of developing 12 million copies, which largely went unsold or were returned by incensed players. In the end, it was just another sign that Atari's days atop the gaming industry were numbered. Number 5, Duke Nukem Forever, 2011. We'd make a joke about it being in development forever, but honestly, it's just a very sad situation. Duke Nukem Forever was once an eagerly awaited follow-up to acclaimed 1996 shooter Nuke Nukem 3D, but interest soon plumped as it spent more than a decade in limbo. As it turned out, the game's production allegedly cost tens of millions of dollars, with the total budget growing alongside delays, downsizing, and a change in development team. Any hope of the final release being worth all trouble was dashed when Duke Nukem Forever launched to a navigate reception and lackluster sales. Number 4, Too Human, 2008. Watching a game fail can be quite hard. Seeing failure befall an apparent passion project is just devastating. Such was the case for Too Human, conceived by Silicon Knights as an epic Norse mythology theme RPG for a Sony PlayStation, but only fully realized on the Xbox 360 after nearly 10 years of being stuck in development hell. Years of hype and build-up and well over $100 million in production costs wasn't able to overcome a mixed reception and widespread disinterest though. Only reported 700,000 copies of Too Human were sold, far below what Silicon Knights had expected and not nearly enough to make a tidy profit. Forced Too Human factor into litigation with Epic Games, which would come to drive Silicon Knights out of business. Number 3, Daikatana 2000 again. 2000 is a mess year, and 1982. As the second project undertaken by the studio Yuan Storm, Daikatana existed in part to show the company's creative and technical potential. However, a lengthy and monotonous production cycle during which publisher Eidos would spend $44 million to push the game out the door ensured that game's promise would go unfulfilled. Generally, gamers found the katana to be bogged down by glitched writing, ugly environmental design, and plethora of bizarre or broken shooting mechanics. Needless to say, the game did not earn back its budget, serving as a central catalyst for the departure of Iron Storm's two founders. Number 2, APB All Points Bulletin 2010. Like the saying goes, crime doesn't pay. At least that's the impression many took away when APB faced slim early sales numbers and the servers shut down just a few months after launch. This much Malik Cops vs Criminals online game was developed with a budget of around $100 million, with expectation like being that APB would recoup the costs upon release. The game met a criticism for releasing in bug-ridden state, with game sales suffering as a result, though it would later return as a free-to-play game called APB Reloaded. The game was never quite the retail its creators seem to have wanted. But before we dive to the last one, I really appreciate if you hit the subscribe button and like the video. And my name is Abulon, thank you for watching the video. Let's dive to the last one. Number 1, E.T. The extraterrestrial 1982. If nothing else, managing to append an entire industry and leave the future of gaming uncertain is just quite the achievement. Atari spent an undisclosed amount of money, speculated to be in millions, on the right to make a game based on the hit film E.T. the Extraterrestrial. A smart move in theory, but then Atari rushed the lead designer to push the game for release in Christmas 1982, resulting in one of the most violent, despised works in the history of the medium. This game not only had a major role in this $356 million debt Atari supposedly had by the year's end, but it's viewed as a final straw that set off the 1983 game industry crash.